podcast where I really wish I listened to an album when it came out 20 years ago for the first time, rather than listening to an album that came out 20 years ago for the first time now.
That's
what I'm going to call this. That's the
we
new
changed
name
our
of the
name, everybody.
podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while, right? So, like, we came back, we're rebranded, we're called that.
Yeah. Good luck typing that in. We don't blame you if you give up halfway through and listen to something else. Omnibus
right,
is nice and short.
Yeah, just easy breezy. You won't fall asleep. I don't.
Yeah.
So welcome into the 2 Decades Too Late podcast. Yeah. I am Brad, hanging out with Josh.
What's up, everybody?
This is only our second episode of the year. And you know what? That's all you really need to know. But this is a podcast in which we rate and review an album that is turning 20 years old, mostly metal for whatever it's worth. Josh and I each give a rating of 1 to 5 to 4 different parameters for an individual maximum point total of $20.
Yep.
And a combined maximum point total of $40.
Chodel. Great.
If it's $20, you know,
it would be
shoot your meat.
Chwodel.
Chwodel.
Gotta shoot
fucking
your
chwodel.
Meat. Gross.
Hey, shut the fuck up, you chwodel.
All right, this got off the rails fast.
Oh, boy. Hey, man. You know?
Yep. I do.
Paper straws are the problem, so I don't know what to tell you.
Fucking, yeah. Well,
anyway, Josh.
Poetic segue.
Indeed.
Today's
and
album does have themes of climate.
It does.
And sea creatures who may or may not be impacted by plastic in the ocean. And how they might feel about it and what they might want to do.
Yeah, it is.
This artist is sorry in advance for everything, because this band is French.
Yep.
They hail from,
and you know who it is now. Probably.
Yeah. Most likely, you know who it is.
I think the only other French band or bands I listen to are avant-garde black metal. Yeah, I think strictly. Yeah. That's the only genre I think I listen to from France.
Or
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
This is not First Fragment. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There's one other.
All those guys.
Yeah.
I love First Fragment. Just that whole... Good for them.
There's one other on... what? The Artisan Era. I want to say like Ooooooooooooooooh or something along those lines.
Boy, if that's not a French band, and that's correct.
There's a lot of vowels
wild.
In a row. Yeah.
Also, check out that record label, the Artisan Era, if you're into technical death metal. If you haven't, I mean, if you like technical death metal, you've listened to Artisan Era bands because they kind of cornered the market.
Yeah, for sure. It's them,
and I'm happy
and
for
then
it.
Like sometimes Season of Mist.
Yeah, right. And like Metal Blade will pick one up every once in a while.
That was a really long way to tell everybody that
France.
This is Gojira. Yeah.
Yeah, we got there.
Yeah, hailing from
seems like a band.
Andres Landis Francie.
So they're from Andre Nicotina?
Yes. They are from Minnesota, where there is plentiful baking soda.
Plenty of baking soda. Figure that one out. I'm not even gonna adjust the context there. That's the context.
Yep.
Them's the breaks. Sick.
Yeah.
We haven't done any other French.
We have not.
It'd be weird if we...
That I'm aware of. I was surprised they had been around since 1996. So active for 9 years at this point. From 96 to 01, they were actually Godzilla. And I've always wondered, like, if the name was adjacent. And today, 20 years after this album came out, I found out that yes, in fact, it is. It is not racist. I also found out. I always kind of thought, like, look, it's Gojira. And that was kind of like the American dubbed bad spelling of Godzilla, but it's actually, oh, come on. The Romaji spelling of the original Godzilla. So Romaji is the Romanization of Japanese characters. There we go. Not caricatures.
Sick.
Yep. So that...
yeah, because then it could be bad.
Yeah. So that non-Japanese native like speakers and language learners can kind of more closely understand.
That's cool and not surprising because I don't know, honestly. I'm fairly ignorant here.
Same.
This is not okay. I was gonna say I wasn't gonna speak for you, but it's like I know the ratio of how big this band is and how important and impactful and legendary and all of the things prolific. The ratio of that to what I know and understand about them at all is very not.
Oh yeah,
even sort of close.
No.
I mean, this was a big ball dropped long ago and never picked back up for me.
Yes, it is
how I would put it.
It is a grain of salt in an ocean.
I mean, this is
another. They opened the Paris Olympics last year. Everybody.
Yeah, and crushed the shit. That's like one of my favorite moments of television. Period. You have Marie Antoinette holding her decapitated head, and that's the intro to Gojira, and they're in the side of a castle overlooking a moat.
Fantastic.
Get the fuck out. And that guitar, ESP made that for him. I don't think before that he was even an ESP player. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Nice.
But they made him an all-chrome, like, check out the video. Everyone's seen it. Weirdly...
I haven't. I avoided it, as I have with all things Gojira, because I thought I did not like them. I may or may not adjust that position. Stay tuned.
I don't care what your opinion is on this. That's a fucking thing to watch, man. Like, I don't even know if liking it or disliking it matters. It's just, it's like, it is a spectacle on a spectacle. I mean, just hats on hats. So many hats. Just all the hats. And they pull it off because they're just
French.
France. Yeah. Yeah, they're fucking French. So literally there's a woman where her head is like smashed between like a fake body holding a head, and she's sitting there singing like decapitated Marie Antoinette.
That's great.
Like, and that's how Gojira is introduced.
Let them eat cake. Was that her? That was her, right? Let them eat.
That's her, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. This is my last dig at the French, I think, apart from accidentally mispronouncing names. Not intentionally.
Yeah, true.
But so I was listening to this album on YouTube as like a one listen through at 1.5 speed just to refresh, as I'm wont to do.
Yeah.
And a comment popped up. It's like, if it wasn't for Gojira, I'd have no respect for the French at all. But these guys like are that big to where
they are.
They can save an entire nation.
I mean, again, how many French bands are you listening to out there?
First Fragment. That's it.
That's it. And we, even on the people who listen to this call, though few and far between as they are, I think more people listening to our podcast probably listen to Gojira than we do.
Oh, for sure.
That's super rare on our podcast because normally we're just pandering to ourselves, and therefore people we know just tend to understand as well and go along with it. But yeah, I can't believe they're around that long, especially figuring I was looking through their discography, and the Way of All Flesh seems to be probably the first album cover I recognize.
Oh, okay.
Like with the skeleton guy on it. Like I remember that. And to think like at that point they had been around for 12 years. So ignorant.
I do remember this album. I downloaded it in around that time frame. So like I heard it when it came out, and like this one sticks with me. And then like I said, I've kind of ignored Gojira ever since. And I misspoke. Oubliette is not from France. They're from Tennessee, so I'll see myself out. But there is a band on the Artisan era called Oubliette, and they are not French.
They're from Tennessee?
Yeah. Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
My God. I maybe would have jumped to like Quebec or New Orleans, maybe?
There is a
But
Canadian
no, definitely not
band,
Tennessee.
Augury, who are from Montreal.
Augury's good.
Yeah.
They're really good. Everyone on that label's good. I mean, they're not for everybody. Not every band is for everyone.
Right.
That is very accurate, but different degrees of good.
Yeah.
Because some of it's just like, I don't know, man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
maybe overplayed my hand a bit with how much I'm even able to talk about this, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, they're definitely interesting, if nothing else, but still active. This particular album, which I haven't said the name of, it's From Mars to Sirius, was released September 27th, 2005 on Listenable / Prosthetic Records.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This feels prosthetic in 2005.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
actually interesting. Okay. Boy, that was a big divide back then. I don't think anyone pays attention to that shit anymore.
No.
Or is it just like a generation thing and younger people are still paying attention like we did at one time?
I don't think so. I think it's probably like a dissolution of record labels and the prominence of independent releases that everyone's kind of like, there really isn't a brand unless you're Malcolm Pugh and awesome and start a label in the way that supports bands and not a shitty way like some other labels used to be run. It was the record label renaissance, really, that kind of stopped all that, I would say.
Yeah, and honestly, good on Malcolm for being pretty dead on time period wise of when he started making all his moves.
He slid into those DMs at the right time.
He crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right after getting off of that Entheos tour where we got to meet him for a second.
Yep.
That was fun.
Where you yelled in Fairy at him, and then they come back with a whopper of an album, and he starts a record label.
Yeah, not long, like a year later.
Yeah.
And he was very excited when I yelled in Fairy at him. That was the happiest I think I've ever made another person.
That was the most emphatic fist bump I have ever seen in my life.
Same. I mean, he was very happy. I'm not kidding. I know I've done things for people, and it's probably few and far between, but I don't know if I've ever made someone that happy. And he was a complete stranger to, well, in one direction, very parasocial in that situation, but I was like, yeah! Like, I was just fanboying all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, so we got this French band that odds are good everyone's listened to more than we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's 100% accurate.
Yeah. But I will say I went in with I did expect to like it less than I do.
Like I said, I had listened to it back in the day, and like I was just like, this really is not for me. And then I left Gojira in 2005.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I've tried to like listen to this or that as they've released new stuff, and I think I always just kind of went in with a prejudice and was like, still not for me. People from Phoenix are Phoenicians.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, this is kind of burying the lead to what Impact at the time might turn out. But this album actually is very good. I've listened to it at least 4 or 5 times since we decided to review it, and I've liked it every time, which is saying a lot because it comes in at a whale of 66 minutes and 52 seconds. So almost a full 67 minutes.
67 minutes.
All right, Gus Johnson.
I mean, the world famous.
The world famous Gojira.
Man, if they would have had him introduced, that would have been impressive. Instead of decapitated Marie Antoinette.
It would have been worse. I'll say it.
It would have been way worse. It would have been hilarious, though, because I don't know how you're tying... The line between those two things is not...
I mean, I can get there because of how much work... what's his nuts has done. Bob Costas did with the Olympics over the years.
You know what? That's fair. So, I think he was probably at that thing.
Probably.
Didn't really listen to this, and I enjoyed it too. I don't know if I enjoy it as much as I'm getting from you that you enjoyed it, but I did not.
That's fair.
Dislike it, which I fully. This is another Converge situation where I genuinely don't have anything bad to say about the band. I fully get and respect their significance. And I get it that people like them. Nothing about it's, I don't know.
This was kind of their breakout album. So, like, compared to the first two, so 2001's Terra Incognita and 2003's The Link, this was kind of a summation of those sounds, those kits of parts, kind of a different direction, just kind of evolving every step of the way to this album, which kind of did put them on the world map and cemented them as a mainstay in the genre, of which people have classified this album technical death metal, which I do see. Progressive metal, groove metal, post metal. And when I was listening to it, I was kind of trying to like nail down what I thought it would be. Like, it's not stoner, it's not sludge. I got to groove metal, which I was pretty happy with, and that's kind of where I'd land most of the album, I'd say. Post metal sounds like a thing.
It captures a lot.
Yeah.
It is, but that captures... I love the post thing. I hated it for the longest time, but as soon as we started doing the podcast and I could just use it,
it's great.
Then I was like, oh, I get why people really love that whole post label, because it gives you a lot of grace.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you a lot of wiggle room. It is odd because, like, when I initially read... So I went back and listened to the first two as well.
Oh, nice.
A lot more death metal influence. Have you seen the album cover of the first one, the Terra Incognita?
I think so.
That is as late 90s metal as I can possibly imagine. I mean... That's hilarious to me.
You know what that is? That is the rest of the picture from Breaking Benjamin's album.
Yeah. It is. And here's the rest of the story. But yeah, no. I think it's probably safe-ish to say, though you can destroy me for this out there. I get it. That this is from Mars to Sirius is where they kind of became Gojira, where it's like, what are they called? I don't know. It sounds like Gojira, though. And it's like post-metal, and there's some technical death metal parts. But it depends on your definition of technical, I guess. It is technical, though.
Yeah.
Like, a drummer, at least. I mean, that guy is a nut job.
Yeah.
And it's funny. He might be the most subtly impressive drummer I've heard in a while, where he does these huge things. His kick drum work is impeccable. Yeah. But man, his like ability to ghost note through like an entire track on snare by essentially just playing a blast beat the whole time, just quietly. It's like, it's insane. Like the song that's a little later.
Tunch. A tunch to the punt.
Oh, God. It seems bad. I just don't really know why. But it doesn't seem good. But like the song Global Warming, which, yes, we know that we've pivoted. It's not global warming. But man, 2005.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
20 years ago, everybody. Actually, when did An Inconvenient Truth come out? It was around 2005, wasn't it?
I think it was earlier than that.
That was definitely like after Gore's failed presidential run, which would have been 2000 or 2004, right?
2006.
All right.
So they beat even in The Inconvenient Truth with a whole album about, now climate change, then global warming.
And then when was the Paris Accord? Was that 2008?
Yeah, almost certainly.
Okay.
They were on it. And guys, hey gang, it's 2025. It's all the same.
Paper straws, no more.
Might be worse.
Might be worse. Trending that direction.
Worse. Trending the wrong way.
Actually, you know what? Despite what we're doing from an administrative standpoint, I will say that, like, I think by and large, the masses do kind of govern the way things trend in that particular regard, which is great.
Yes. Yeah. You gotta have something to hang hope on.
Yeah. Yep, it's a stretch.
Because things are getting sticky.
I am grasping at plastic straws.
You're damn right. And better not be paper because they explode? That was the reasoning?
No clue, but that sounds about right.
That
definitely
that
volatile.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
next time you need to blow something up, folks, pack it full of paper straws. There's about to be a surplus.
Yep. I have no lips from paper straws. I have no teeth from paper straws.
Yep.
You can see me. I'm a fucking mess.
My head's clean, blown off.
Yeah. I essentially look like a worse version of the 1980s Toxic Avenger, and it's all because of paper straws.
You mix carbon dioxide.
The opposite is doing the opposite?
Yeah. You mix carbon dioxide and paper, that's basically a bomb.
That potato-bodied fuck. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we will never get ads.
No.
Anyway, great song though. Global Warming at track 12. It's how the album goes out. I love that song, but the drummer, man, pay attention. Because the guitar is doing a lot of cool stuff. It's unlike any other song on the album. And then the bass is just doing a perfect job of keeping like a rhythm and a tempo going while the guitar is being weird.
Yep.
And then the drummer is somehow blending both the whole time with his snare work and his kick work. And it's just...
That's bonkers.
It's a lot going on. And it's not trying to be flashy because I don't know. You could just miss it and just be like, this is a really well composed song. It works.
Yeah. Which definitely... Definitely like a lot of reviewers referenced Meshuggah. And that's an easy pickup there.
Yeah, this is like the baby of Neurosis and Meshuggah, essentially.
They cite the influence of Pantera, Meshuggah,
and Pantera,
Pantera, Meshuggah, and Pantera, Meshuggah, and Neurosis. Let me get all those R's in there.
A lot of R's in there.
And then not.
Yeah.
My sugar. This is all dumb. Yeah.
Oh, God.
But you touched on it. They definitely nailed the composition of the album, too. Like,
they did. It's the best part.
Those three influences could leave you in an otherworldly mess of gross sound and just complete disharmony. But they definitely wrap it up in a pretty masterful way.
I will say that one of the things, and I think I have a reason for this, maybe, or at least it's seemingly a reason. When I get to bands like this, like track 8 in the Wilderness, it's just so fucking long. There's a lot of that. There's
it is
3 songs
full
or
seconds
4.
shorter than Global Warming.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, there are 3 over the 7-minute mark.
They're basically 8 minutes long. Yeah.
And then 1 comes in just shy of 7.
Yeah. So in the Wilderness, if you listen to that intro, it's really sick.
Super sick.
It's also like Into the Moat could have written it also, and they wouldn't have repeated the bars the same way. And that's with bands like Gojira, there's nothing wrong with it. It actually probably makes more sense to do it this way, but it's like they do a lot of like riffing where it's just A, B, A, B, A, B, A, or A, B, A, C, A, B, A, C. And it's like that exact part, I actually think that exact part is probably ripped off by Into the Moat on something because it actually reminded, that's why I brought them up specifically.
They're on here. They're in 2005. They're contemporary.
Exactly. And if they wrote the beginning of In the Wilderness, they wouldn't have done A, B, A, C, A. They would have done whatever combination of throw in like A through F.
They would have done ABBA,
and they would have
ABBA. You and me. As a
Mamma Mia.
I had to work that joke in there.
Hell yeah. But like, you see what I mean?
I do, yeah.
It's just like, it's good, but I know bands were not doing it better. Just the bands I was into were doing that in 3 minutes and then making it kind of more of a nightmare, and apparently that's what I want.
Yeah.
Even though, realistically, this is the more mature side of that thought process. It's just, to me, I do get a little like, come on, man. You couldn't have changed the end of the third round. They do it at times. I'm not saying it's always just repetitive. That's not true, but there are times where I'm like 3 minutes of the same riff is a lot.
I did expect this when I put it on to feel a lot more repetitive than it did. And it
true.
Certainly
I will give you that.
Has elements that repeat, but it doesn't feel repetitive most of the time.
I would agree with that. It's just if I listen to the whole thing not really worrying about it, I don't find it repetitive at all.
Yeah.
But when I'm really, really trying to give it the beans.
Right.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Not necessarily in the context in which you just used it, but
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel broken this morning for some reason. I feel like my brain's like, what's happening? It's Sunday. Everyone's leave me alone about your stuff for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. It gets a little repetitive to me at times, and I will say I did not listen to it multiple times. I think I listened to it twice, and
that's fair.
Regardless of how I think I'm going to be positive in the review aspect of this, if you were to ask me if I'm ever going to put it in normal rotation, probably not.
Yeah. So it definitely has that like mid-tempo, steady feel that I was definitely not looking for in 2005. Like if I had this and August Burns Red to listen to, like I want the energy of August Burns Red.
Yeah.
And I won't say that this lacks energy, because it doesn't, but
no,
it doesn't express it in the same way. And that's probably like my feeling on the groove metal aspect of it coming into play.
Yeah. I think that's just where I am on groove metal in general. Like
for sure.
I think it scratches an itch, but you got to have that itch.
Right.
Like,
and it's going to scratch it for a long time. And sometimes it may just like scratch in that one spot for too long and leave you bleeding.
Yeah, and it's like I go back to Lamb of God, and I think I might have been too hard on Lamb of God because, at least there's the variance of songs happening relatively on a normal basis, whereas this is like, man, I've been in this song for fucking minute.
8 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I probably can't give you a great track by track. I have it, but there's a lot of still doing this.
Yeah,
we're doing it. It's fine, but we're doing it, and it's like a lot of that.
You can definitely take that approach, or you can like sit there and like cherry pick out the best bits and come up with like a completely different review.
And there's a lot of good stuff. So I'm not saying like
a lot of good stuff.
It's a good album. Like spoiler alert.
Yes.
Overall, it's just be ready. I'm not saying you feel all 60, almost 7 minutes, but I think you'll feel quite a few of them
for sure. This actually ended up on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Metal Albums of All Time at number 97, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of the lyrics are incredible. Don't read them right now. Maybe. I really wish I wouldn't have, because when I read the whole idea of what the premise of the album was, and not that it's not obvious. I mean, you look at it and it's
elaborate on that a little more though.
Well, it's about it's a little fiction, it's a little nonfiction. It's a lot about how we're killing our planet, and then there's like a science fiction aspect to the story where they are traveling to try to find other worlds and to possibly survive on, and then some existential dread coming from the lyrics expressing the fact that our children may not have a planet to live on, and maybe rather than looking for another one, maybe we just do better with the one that already has us, because we don't technically have proof that we exist elsewhere, and we don't technically have any assurances that we'll be able to.
Yeah.
So, a lot of that. And our president had a thing about paper straws a week ago. So I wasn't ready for this. in any way, shape, or form, and it bummed me out. They are beautiful lyrics, though.
The wound was
the guy
still
writes
fresh.
incredible lyrics. Oh my God. I was like, yeah, I know. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the title From Mars to Sirius, he kind of, I think it's one of the band members, but they kind of elaborate and simplify it to the fact that, like, in some cultures, Mars is war, Sirius represents peace. So it's essentially like a trying to move from war to peace type thing. And they put those two songs back to back, From Mars to Sirius. And From Mars is definitely the it's a little interlude song. It's a super peaceful little interlude song. There's 2 tracks actually that come in sub 3 minutes on this, and this is one of them. So
From Mars is great.
Yeah, From Mars is great. It's a very nice little interlude. The niceness of the song for the song that's supposed to be like leaving war from Mars is super hopeful. But then the two Sirius, the one that's supposed to be going to peace, is super brutal and,
super brutal.
Kind of a bummer.
Kind of a bummer. It's maybe one of the best songs on the... That's the one that stuck out. Was that a single? Because I knew to Sirius.
I think it was.
Out of all the songs on the album. Okay. I was going to say, I don't know if that was just a matter of, at the original Hillier department when we were downloading everything on Earth and then making 10,000 playlists a day.
Right.
I don't know if this just like hovered into there. I'm assuming it's something like that, but I knew that song pretty well.
Yeah, was on like a sampler for a while.
Ah, okay. As is often the case.
There was a video for Too Sirius, yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, man, I know that shit. And it's a great song, but yeah, it's heavy and it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I don't know, either be in a worse mood than I was when you read these if you choose to, or be in a better mood than I was when you read these if you choose to, because being in the middle somewhere wasn't helpful.
Don't read them after it's only been a week since a presidential administration had a beef with paper straws.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great. Well, Josh, I don't know. Do you have any other things you wanted to shine a light on? Because I'm a little surprised by how I landed on the review of this, if I'm being honest.
I'm definitely interested to hear about that, but before we get there, I'll just say, so for me, monotone vocals or vocals without a lot of variation kind of have never appealed to me. But track 6, The Heaviest Matter of the Universe, kind of, there's some different vocals in there, which is super nice.
Agreed.
Same with From Mars, actually. But they do it a few times, and it's always quite refreshing.
Yeah, actually, I wish the dude did his, like, death metal vocal more. I mean, he did in earlier records, but, like, it's very good. His voice is sick, and it's iconic. I mean, no one else sounds like this guy. It's just immediate. This dude isn't taking Melissa Cross's thing. That's just the sound that comes out of this guy's face. And it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of a Meshuggah or a Mastodon.
Yeah,
but it's definitely
a lot of Mastodon parallels.
Yeah, a lot of that.
You can tell that these two bands were being probably influenced similarly. During the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
The song "Flying Whales," track 7, is a little bit more upbeat than some of the other tracks on the album. It's definitely a bop. It's a head bobber for sure. It's got some. It is on the longer side, so you may lose.
I was gonna say if you can call.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if you can call an 8-minute song a bop.
Yep.
But it isn't not that. I don't disagree.
Track 9, World to Come, definitely leans probably actually from 9 on through the end are probably the most groove metal leaning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
and I mean, like. Weirdly, Unicorn, the other little
I fucking
interlude.
Love that song, and I think I almost did. I do an instrumental for ABR as far as what to put on the playlist.
I don't
think so. I wanted to real bad. I was like, I can't do instrumentals 2 weeks in a row.
I mean, oh yeah, well. No, I think you did 7 trumpet, didn't you?
Okay. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Well, which is half that. I mean, in fairness to you.
Right.
It is half an instrumental. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I was hoping one of us, well, I'm getting ahead of, but it's Unicorn's great. Don't sleep on Unicorn. It's necessary. If you're going to truly enjoy this album, enjoy the parts where it's giving you a little bit of levity.
Yeah.
You need it.
Take the ebbs and flows. Don't be like, oh.
Yeah.
It's only 2 minutes. I'll skip it.
No, you need it.
Because
the previous 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just had 3 songs topple 15 minutes easy.
Yeah.
And that 2-minute nice little break, and it's called Unicorn. What's not to love?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, you know what? We can get into that when we talk about production, because there's a really cool thing on that.
Sick. You want to get
review? Let's fucking do it. All right, Josh, we are reviewing From Mars to Sirius by the oft not listened to by me, but otherwise very legendary band Gojira.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the album cover?
I have actually always loved the album cover. Even just as a piece of artwork. I think it's super sick. I like the detail in the planets. I like the detail in the whale. Like the color palette's super duper nice.
Yep.
So I've always loved the album artwork, and it's made me wish that I liked the album or the band more. And maybe I do today than I did in the past. Maybe not. Who cares?
Yeah.
But the album artwork is sick. It's definitely a 5.
It is.
And it was infuriatingly done by the vocalist and rhythm guitar player, Joe Duplantier. Sorry.
It's fun. We're gonna talk about these fucks in a good way.
Fucks.
My God,
no kidding.
This is infuriating.
It really is.
This is not fair.
So his vocals are a 5, the rhythm guitar is a 5, and his fucking album artwork's a 5. This guy's basically perfect if he wasn't French.
Get him! Nah. I don't have a lot to add. This is incredible. Even the negative space is taken up well with just enough to keep it interesting, which is awesome. It reminds me. What does this remind me?
Watercolory effect.
Yeah, I love it. What is this fucking Adrenaline by Deftones? Does this have that kind of vibe?
I think so, but maybe.
Deftones, Adrenaline. Yeah, well,
this doesn't.
The art styles.
Yeah. 2 planets and a whale does not scream adrenaline to me.
Have you seen the cover of Adrenaline? It's just got one of those nose cleaner outers thing on it. Isn't that what that is? I think that's what that is. Or is that an old school douche? It could be an old school douche as well.
They're all the same. I mean, the booger sucker, a douche, and an enema bulb are all the same basic shape and function.
Sick. Well, then I'm not wrong or right.
You could also, it's really a multitasker. I mean, you could use it to baste your turkey and baste your turkey.
You can use it to shoot your meat. And by the way, that's shoot, CHUTE, just so everyone knows. This is where we are.
Oh.
Does it not remind you the art style? I mean, I don't know. Something about it weirdly kind of gives me it's different entirely, but the vibe
it's all the same kind of tone.
Soft kind of, yeah. All right. I'm trying to defend an opinion that's wrong. is what I'm doing. Anyway, we just talked about
how
Deftones
American
for far too
of
long.
you.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, it's a 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
No problem.
It's a 5. It's very, very good though.
Meat shoot 5. Yeah, see, we're the meat shoot 5.
That's the way worse version of that Slaughterhouse 5 book, the Meat Shoot 5. Wow, I bet that would bother people. That's a book. That book was important, right? Or that person is important?
The book was, and the writer, yeah. I mean, they're all kind of classic things, but it was important at least to Bury Your Dead, who named all the soundtracks after his novels. So it
was a sick album. Really good Bury Your Dead album. Yeah. What'd you think of the production then versus now on this here Gojira record?
Boy, it's definitely a solid 4. I couldn't decide if it was a 4 or a 5, but I was listening to the Poetic Edda, like that Synestia and Disembodied Tyrant album, right before this, and then switched to this, which is 20 years older. And man, it's apart from just like the newer one having a little bit more punch. This is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So I guess I'm gonna give it a 5.
Sick. I landed on a 5 too. And the reason I don't want to give it a 5. I hate the fact that these dudes also produced the goddamn thing.
I know. It is
the only thing they didn't do was master.
No, they did.
And they even partnered on the master. There's one dude that did mastering that's not in the band.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. Everything else was the band.
Yeah.
These fuckers, man. And it's no wonder they have the most amazing digital amplifier on the market right now, which I own and am very happy to own.
Very good.
Because they apparently know everything about Sonic everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know he made the artwork. That pisses me off.
Yeah. Yep. Everything about this album is Gojira. Which actually, on them, man. Sorry, band members, we did not do. But they've basically been the same since 1998. The bassist was different from 96 to 98, but Joe, Duplantier, vocals and rhythm guitar, Christian Andrew, lead guitar, Jean-Michel Labadie? I'm sorry. Jean-Michel, maybe, even. And then Mario Duplantier on drums.
All right.
But yeah, it's a 5.
They go listen to their new album, and it sounds newer, not better. So it's ridiculous. I can't believe they self-produced it. I'm like reading the names and just getting angrier and angrier. And it's not even just like they have a lot of bands have the one person who's like, fuck you, you're also good at drums and you're the vocalist and that kind of thing.
Kurt Ballou or Flesh God Apocalypse.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's fuck that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, fuck that guy. Yeah, that's right. The drummer melting your face for years is now the vocalist / rhythm / lead guitar player.
We saw him as both. We saw him as the drummer, and then a year later as guitar player / singer.
And he was a better frontman than the person who they had before him.
Yep.
Sucks.
Goofy dude, too. He was out at the merch table just bouncing around.
Dude, just having a good time. Yeah. Well, I guess when you just ooze talent all over everything, it's hard to probably be in a bad mood.
He did start the set by dropping his drumstick, though. So he's at least moderately human.
True enough. Well, did we already score the... It's a 5 for me, if I didn't say already. That it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's fantastic. What was the impact at the time?
I am giving it, and I quote... 2.
Hey,
because 2.
That is as good a reason as any.
I'm not giving it a 1 because I'm just not. I'm choosing not to. It's a 1. I didn't listen to this shit at all, but
retroactive plus point.
And it's there are genuinely bands we love that are straight up credit Gojira with the fact that they even started doing what they're doing. So it's it's somewhere we brushed up against it. And I just, honestly, the album is, despite me having less of an attention span with music now than I once did, because if I heard this in 2005, I would have loved this shit so much. I was there for it back then. Like, yeah, give me that 15-minute Norma Jean song on Bless the Martyr.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I probably would have really liked this in 2005, and I really like it now, but it's just like, you know.
I guess I did you a disservice by not saying, like, hey, Brad, check out this Gojira band.
I mean, you wouldn't have at the time, and I would have probably not been susceptible to it. I think if you could turn off my subjective hatred towards everything in 2005 and turn on my logic brain for roughly 67 minutes, I think I would have really liked this. It's just, I don't know if I was capable of it at the time, but in theory, I should have liked it a lot.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm giving it a 2 only because I just feel I can't give it a 1. It's too big of a thing.
It is. It is a big thing.
I don't have a better reason for that than that, though.
That's fair.
What about you?
I gave it a 1.
Sick.
Because I did hear it then. I listened to like the album. Like I wanted to get into it kind of because it was a little weird, but I just couldn't. So I actively avoided it at the time. And like, I don't even know anybody who was like, Gojira, man.
Yeah, that really was. It's weird because I know everyone else's crew were into, they had to have been because this is when they blew up. And
yeah, like,
I was just like, nah, I just want to spin kick people in the face right now.
Right.
I don't really want to think too much about what I got going on.
Like you said, though, like we gravitated more toward the Into the Moat style of, or the Into the Moat, I guess, representation of these ideas.
Yeah, because they did a lot of groove stuff.
Yeah.
They just
jazzy.
Did a lot of weird ass shit.
Yeah. So,
and I was there for it at the time.
Yeah, earlier when I said like it could very easily with those influences have turned into a gross hot mess. Like that is kind of Into the Moat. So
yep. 100%. This is, like I said, I like Into the Moat a lot. This is a more mature version of that style of songwriting.
Yep. More restrained, I'll say. I don't know if I even say mature, but like
you're right. They're making better decisions, like really, as far as like now we'd like people to listen to this.
Right.
And the Moat was like, we don't care if people are listening to us at all. Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, go use that bass as a guitar and really piss everybody off.
Sick.
I don't know. That sounds like something they do. All right.
Curious how much you enjoyed listening to it today, though.
I tried really, really hard to be objective on this because sometimes bands, I think, deserve the gravity that they've earned. And I think this band is one of those. So I'm giving it a 4 because I really tried to make myself look at it specifically from a musician's, like from the perspective of a musician.
Right.
And to go like that, whatever song now I don't remember that I was talking about where the drummer and was just literally perfectly tying From Mars. Is that the one? No, global warming. So like on global warming, idiots, it's climate change. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's, I mean, as an absolute masterclass in how to compose a song that I don't even know how they did it.
Yep.
they crushed it. So I did try really hard to be objective. And by the way, even from the subjective standpoint, I didn't hate it. I really, when we have an album like this, I really need to make sure that I do my notes in like the afternoon of the day or days prior rather than it's 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And I tried really hard to not let that seep in on this one. So I'm giving it a 4. I mean, it is good. And I think if I just kind of had it on while I was like playing Skater XL or something, I'd be having a time.
You'd have a time.
What about
for
you?
Sure. I gave it a 4. I really liked it. I've listened to it, like I said, a couple of times. Like I put it on in the car to take my kid to daycare, which is a weird sentence for me to say still. But
sick.
Yeah, it was super sick. Like I said, I definitely expected when the first song came on for me to be like, oh God, this is how fucking long is this gonna be? And even more importantly, how fucking long is it gonna feel? But it didn't. It
was not bad though.
It really delivered. So yeah, I landed on a solid 4.
Sick.
Speaking of,
I did have to fight between a 3 and 4.
Did you? I could see that just as easily. Like if it catches you on the wrong day.
Yeah, and like I think from just a pure enjoyment standpoint today, it was probably a 3, but like it's hard to ignore how I can't believe they did the artwork.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely upset by that.
Yeah, you should be.
It's such good artwork.
It is.
Fuckers. If you know what, if
pick a medium and be good at it.
I would have bumped it to a 5 with that information, despite how upset it made me. I already landed on a 5 without that knowledge. So now it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Good for you. Good for you guys.
Just kidding. Speaking of climate change, though, did you know that Greta Thunberg backed down on everything she said? So much so that she even changed her name. She's now Regreta Thunberg. Yeah.
Jesus. Well, This will be the last episode of the podcast.
Because Brad is going to unalive me.
Oh, you know what? That's not bad.
Yeah.
You've been sitting on that for a while?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what rating you're all giving Josh after this, but for the review scores that Josh and I gave this album, From Mars to Sirius by Gojira, Josh, you landed on a 15, and weirdly, I landed on a 16 for my dick-ass 2 that I gave no justification for.
You don't have to. It's our podcast.
Nope. You're damn right. Okay,
guess with
total
that,
of 31 points.
Yeah. Oh, no, we got
well, what's your favorite song? Yeah, favorite song. Let's clean up, because that's not what we're doing.
Clean up, everybody, everywhere. It's kind of a tie between Ocean Planet and Flying Whales, and I think I'm going to go with Flying Whales.
Flying Whales, it is for Josh.
You know, that 7 minute and 44 second bop.
Yep. Man. I'm going to go... I'm going to go Unicorn.
Hell yeah.
Only because it's global warming.
Right.
I'm not putting a 7 minute, 50 second song. I'm not doing it. That's a long... And you know what? I want everyone to, if this is all they're going to hear some of the heaviness and then hear some of the... the levity that they also give you. And
that's a really good call. Cover some bread.
Yeah. And then if you want to hear those songs, we add them to our playlist on Spotify, TDTL favorite songs. It's been a minute. I also forget what that's called now. Stuff's on it, though.
Yep.
And it's big. And it's weird. And I like it. Did you
continue from 2004? Or did you start a new playlist?
Oh, interesting. What do you think? Should I do a new playlist? Should it be separated by seasons?
Yeah.
All right. You heard the man. You heard him, gang. So, new playlist. This will be, I don't know, 2? TDTL favorite songs 2?
05?
Do we go that? Yeah. We'll figure it out. And then if you want to reach out to us and follow our very few posts recently, we are on Instagram at TDTL_podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that.
We're there. Yeah.
You can find us.
Yep. Lot going on.
So yeah, but if you care about 2004, we also had, I guess, now we'll say we had last year's playlist on Spotify. So check that out. See the best
Big
of 2004. Yeah.
I just want to remind everybody of it every chance I can think of, because they're there.
And Cradle
they're
of
not
Filth.
going anywhere.
Yep.
You're hearing the word cunt, and then you're also hearing songs that you may not hear anything.
Yeah.
Not really. Good.
Yep. So with that, he's been Brad. I've been Josh, and we've been 2 decades too late.
Chin up, gang.
Chin up.
We love you.
Yep. We'll come back with something maybe more positive next week, or maybe just as crushing and bleak.
I gotta tell you, looking through the lists, there's a lot. We were dealing with it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Bye, everybody.